Some of the world's most famous cave paintings are tens of thousands of years old. Despite the fact that the people who lived in these eras were considered prehistoric or simply cavemen, many of these sketches demonstrate the impressive creativity and skill of the then inhabitants of planet Earth. There are no specific, universal theories about the purpose of all these ancient drawings. Did prehistoric people have a desire for self-expression? Did they want to make historical sketches for future generations? Or were they simply trying to communicate with others like them who used the caves as a refuge? Because of the protected underground environment, many of the rock paintings are in surprisingly good condition. Unfortunately, some of the most popular caves had to be closed because the large number of visitors changed the conditions inside the caves, causing the paintings to fade or mold to grow. Nevertheless, the dozen or so similar sites below are still trying to offer visitors a first-hand look at these relics of ancient human life. The drawings in the Lascaux cave in southwestern France are not the oldest examples of art in the world, but they are considered some of the most stunning. Painted some 17,000 years ago, the paintings depict large animals such as bulls and horses that lived in this part of Europe during the Paleolithic era. The images were discovered by a group of teenagers in 1940 and the cave was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979. Unfortunately, Lascaux is now closed to the general public, the rock paintings have begun to fade inexorably, and mold has been discovered inside the cave itself. Curious travelers will have to settle for a replica of the largest cave hall, called Lascaux II, which is about 200 meters away from the real cave. Nowadays, serious efforts are being made to protect the original paintings from further fading. Tourists can see original rock paintings at another famous site, the Swimmer's Cave. These paintings depict people swimming, but the cave itself is located in one of the last places on planet Earth that you would associate with water activity. It is in the Sahara Desert in Egypt, near the Libyan border. Some scientists speculate that the area was home to a large lake or river in prehistoric times, but the region has since undergone desertification. Many people may be familiar with the cave, as it was featured in the 1996 feature film The English Patient. Some parts of the cave have still been damaged by visitors, but the local authorities have made a serious effort to train guides to deter tourists from continuing to do further damage. Due to its remoteness, a small number of people are actually able to visit this cave. By the way, it is one of many in the area that have ancient drawings. Rock paintings were found along the entire length of the Altamira cave, located in northern Spain, about 32 kilometers from the city of Santander, autonomous community of Cantabria. Scientists believe that the paintings, lined up along the kilometer-long passages, were created over a long period of 20,000 years, and some researchers believe that the oldest images were made by Neanderthals themselves. Apparently, the cave was sealed by a rockfall, so all the drawings are so perfectly preserved. The cave was only uncovered in the 1880s. It took decades to convince skeptics, who believed that ancient people were not sophisticated enough to create such paintings, that the images really belonged to prehistoric times. Because of the carbon dioxide emitted when visitors breathe, Altamira's paintings have begun to fade. These days, most people wander through an exact replica of the cave, but more recently, Altamira's trustees have begun to allow a limited number of tourists into the actual stone gallery as well. They have not been deterred by the concerns of some experts who believe that even a limited weekly visit could ruin all the artwork of the ancients. Kakadu National Park in Australia's sparsely populated Northern Australia contains some of the best surviving examples of rock art created by Australia's indigenous peoples. The paintings are found beneath rock ledges where people of the past likely took shelter from the weather. Some of the images are believed to be at least 20,000 years old. These paintings tell the story of human life in Australia from prehistoric times through to first contact with non-indigenous settlers and explorers. For many of these ancient artists, the act of painting was considered more important than the resulting image itself. It is for this reason that some of the old paintings of the park were later painted over with new sketches. The Magura cave in Bulgaria contains paintings made between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago. These images are believed to show festivals, other important events and deities unique to the ancient Balkans. There is also evidence of a solar calendar, one of the oldest ever discovered on our planet. After studying all the drawings, scientists discovered that they were drawn using bat guano, in other words, from the partially decomposed remains of bat droppings. Nowadays, visitors can see some of the paintings during a visit to the cave, although this requires booking a tour in advance and paying an additional fee. This is the only way to see all the chambers that contain these paintings. One of the most interesting examples of prehistoric art can be found in Argentina, more specifically in one of the regions of the country called Patagonia. The aptly named Cueva de las Manos, aka Cave of Hands, has the outline of several human hands that were stenciled onto the stone wall. There are other paintings in the cave, most of which depict wild animals and hunting. The palm prints and other images were made over 9,000 years ago. Most of the stencils are made with the left hand, which can tell us that the artists made all these drawings themselves using some sort of paint tube that they held in their right hand. The paint was blown out of the device onto the left hand and spread around it. Tours of the cave are available to everyone, the main thing is to get to this remote place. The Bhimbetka rock dwellings in Madhya Pradesh, India, contain some of the oldest rock paintings in South Asia. Despite the vast number of years that have passed, all the images are perfectly preserved. Experts estimate that the oldest specimens were drawn about 30,000 years ago. Some of the images are much younger, and the newest ones were created just recently, during the Middle Ages. To bring together works of art from prehistoric times to the Middle Ages in one place is a great rarity and a great fortune indeed. The dwellings, which are part of the UNESCO World Heritage List, are open to the public daily. The karst caves at Maros and Pangkep are located on the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia and have attracted a lot of attention because it is estimated, based on recent carbon analysis, that the images found here are about 40,000 years old. If the dating is correct, it would mean that local artists were making their paintings earlier than European cave dwellers. The karst caves contain images of hands, similar to those found in the Argentine cave written about above. Animal figurines are also present here. People can visit the cave as part of a tour that also includes stops at interesting rock formations found around the caves. More than 1,000 drawings have been discovered around Pedra Ferreira, in northeastern Brazil. The sites are controversial among scientists, some of whom believe that the people who lived there came to the region before the so-called Clovis tribe. Most prehistory experts believe that it was members of the Clovis tribe who were the very first people to settle in the Americas. The Pedra Ferreira region, which is part of the Serra de Capivara National Park, is home to hundreds of archaeological sites. More than 1,500 of them, including some sites with rock paintings, are open to the public. The artworks on the rock walls of the Los Gel cave complex are located outside Hargeisa, the capital of the autonomous region called Somaliland. However, they have been known to the locals for a very long time. However, the whole world paid attention to them only after French archaeologists began to study this complex in the early 2000s. The paintings, which remain quite vivid to this day because of the local arid climate, are between 5,000 and 11,000 years old. The paintings depict both humans and animals. Somaliland, located north of the volatile state of Somalia, is relatively safe to visit, although its tourism industry is only in its earliest stages of development.